Hello, I'm Willie Mayette. I'd like to welcome you to this Hang with Willie episode number 4. Today we're going to be talking about how to create a modified arrangement if you have smaller hands. I know that not everybody is able to reach an 11th or a 12th at the piano, so I want to share with you some techniques that I tell my students to create that arrangement so that you could still get a full sounding arrangement at the piano even if you have smaller hands. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to be releasing my new Over the Rainbow, Somewhere Over the Rainbow lesson, the Harold Arlen song, made popular in the movie The Wizard of Oz. So that is a brand new arrangement with melody and all of that. So that will be released at Piano with Willie tomorrow. If you're interested in that, you can take a look at it. You'll find it right in the lessons area. So what I want to do is I'm taking 4 measures out of that, actually not out of that arrangement because I made 4 brand new measures. When I typically arrange a song for Piano with Willie, I always think about students only being able to reach an octave. So I really try and stay away from tenths and stuff like that. But this example right here is a real, like this is like what I'm calling the big arrangement. All right, so let me play it for you and you'll see what I mean. Like, it's like real big, you know. I mean, look at this. There's an 11th there, trying to reach an 11th. Okay? And here's a root 5 third in there, or 10, okay? Now, I know that some of you want to reach through the screen right now and, shake me because you're like, I wish I could reach an 11th, I want to be able to reach that 11th, especially if you can only barely hit tenths. Look, here's the thing about reach at the piano. It doesn't matter what your reach is, okay? There have been many pianists, Michel Petrucciani, he suffered from, having smaller hands and a diminutive size, and, he was able to play incredible, he was so fast at what he could do. So hand size is not important. Being able to see the piano too. Look at Stevie Wonder. He was blind, and he could still play. So don't let what you might consider a shortcoming stand in your way of playing the instrument, okay? Because it's really not a shortcoming only if you make it one, all right? So this arrangement right here, though, it's obvious that, okay, a lot of people couldn't play these chords without breaking them up somehow. So one thing that a lot of times students would do is, they'll do something like this. Just kind of roll that chord over here in the left hand. But it's not just the left hand, it's also, that's a lot right there. If you could barely hit an octave, then trying to get those 2 notes in between there is a real challenge. So let's move on. I'll show you what I suggest you do. All right, the first step, oh, and by the way, if you want this sheet music, it's going to be available to all members. It's in the courses area under this hang number 4, today's hangout, okay? So the first step is you remove the top note, okay, of the left hand and the bottom note of the right hand. So you see what I did here? So now these are exactly the same chords, but listen to what you have now. You have this. Did I forget that 5th in there? Oh yeah, I forgot to play the 5th in there, not A flat, sorry. So anyway, so you can see this is what you have now. Now, this doesn't sound bad. This sounds all right. Whoops. Sorry, I got something in my eye here. All right, so it doesn't sound bad, but you kind of see this great chasm here in the middle here. This huge canyon of the left hand's down here and the right hand's up here. Even look at it on the virtual keyboard, you got all this space in here, So it's look at that. like all this space in here. So you want to try and avoid your arrangements being like that. You don't want to like, you know, like play like so wide open like that. You really want to get in closer, okay? But the first step is remove that top note of the left hand and the bottom note of the right hand. Now, why do you remove the top note of the left hand and the bottom note of the right hand? Because the two most important notes in any arrangement is the melody, which is the top note, okay? 99% of the time, it's the top note, okay? So for all intents and purposes, we could say the melody is almost always that top note. If there's something else in there, it might be like a filler, you know, so it might not be a melody note. You might be like, you know, kind of a fill, like, you know, maybe in here, like they might add, you know, like something like those notes in there would be filler notes, okay? All right, so, but the top note is typically your melody note. If you don't have the melody, well, then, you know, you don't, there's no melody there. And then the bottom note is really important because this is your root motion, okay? If you don't have your root motion, then you start to get stuff like this, like, and it's like, well, those notes don't sound bad, but the problem is that they don't define what the motion of the chords is, okay? So that's why bottom note, top note, those are the ones you got to keep. All right, so let's move on to step 2 here. So the first thing to do, and this is real quick, is just fix the range. So take these notes that are like way down in here and bring them up, all right? So now you get this. So pretty simple. All I did was I took the left hand and I moved it up an octave, right? Just so that it wasn't that big, huge gap in the middle. All right, so that's simple. Step 3, fill in the gaps. So now what I'm doing here is the right hand, I'm not doing anything different in the right hand. I'm only filling in the left hand. And look at how I'm filling in. As I play it, I'll explain it. So here, I added in the 5th, right? Now, if I can hit the octave along with the 5th over there as well, okay? That sounds nice. That kind of fills it out a little bit more, okay? And then, same thing, I did the same thing here, root 5 root. Now when I got to the B flat 7, I did a root 7 shell, and then the same thing for the A7, a root 7 shell, and then the same thing for the A flat major 7, root 7 chord shell. And then the same thing for B flat 7 sus4, and finally G minor 7. So let me play the whole thing without talking. And if you play it like that with good speed, pacing, dynamics, articulation, that would be fine. There would be nothing wrong with that arrangement. You could play that for somebody and it'd be like, someone would be like, wow, that sounds beautiful. That's very nice. But we don't have to stop there. We can keep going. So step 4, now we can fill out the voicings. Now this time I'm not changing anything in the left hand. Now I'm adding stuff in the right hand. So look at what I'm doing now. So now I added in this 6th in the right hand. Okay. Here I did nothing. Here I added in that 7th on the G minor 7. Now you see I added. So here, the B flat 7, I added in the B flat. On the A7, I added in the A and the B, the root and the 9th. I like this chord. The A flat 7, notice I just changed the root up to the 9th. And this is a real nice chord. B flat sus4, there's a sus4, right? I added in the 5th as well. And there's G minor 7. So now it starts to like, again, feel like, oh yeah, now we're filling this out. Again, I can't stress enough that if you do something like this, you know, you can hit all the right notes, but like be banging or have bad time. And obviously, that's not going to work either, okay? So filling out the chord voicing. Now, what notes do you choose to fill out the chord voicing? Well, pick other notes of the chord. So here, like on the E flat, you know, how did I know to go to an E flat 6? Well, I've talked about this in many of the lessons, but I'll give you the hint right now. The melody is the root, so if I put the major 7th there, it's gonna kind of rub, even there as well. So an E flat 6 is gonna be a little softer of a chord. C minor. Here, guess what I could have done? I could have also added in the 11th, you know, or I could have put the C in there if I wanted to. I could have also done this, come up an octave in the left hand, so that's another option. On the G minor, I could have added in the 9th if I wanted to and gone to the 7th here as well, you know. On the B flat 7, I could have done this as well. So see, I'm just adding in other notes of the chord. So what does that mean then? That means that you have to know the notes of your chord. Hey Willie, how do I learn all the notes of my chords? Piano Essentials, okay? If you haven't checked out the Piano Essentials program yet, that is fantastic because this is where I go through all of the scales, this is where I go through all of the chords. You will learn all of the triads and 7th chords for each key, and it gives you a practice routine. Now, a couple of ways in which you can get that. You can go back to PianoChordsOnline.com. Check out the program that way. That's if you're not a member. If you're already a member of Piano with Willie, well, you already have access to Piano Essentials. You could see it right in your dashboard or go to the courses area and you can see it there. I also have my new Chord Essentials, right? And the Chord Essentials is great for you to be able to learn all of these different chordal patterns. You know, I can just kind of like play something like here, like this, like, or this. There's numbers 4, 5, and 6 right there. So again, you follow through all in one key at a time. You go through all 12 keys. That is also available to Piano with Willie members, or if you like to purchase it separately, if you're not a member of the site and you just want to get access to all this stuff, or just learn more about it and get some more examples and get some, you know, free videos on it, go to PianoChordsOnline.com and you can check it out there. All right, so learning your chords is extremely important. You have to know, like if I look at this and I say B flat 7, boom, B flat D, F A flat. It's like, boom, it has to be that fast. A7, A, C sharp, E, G. You know, you have to know, oh, the 3rd is C sharp, the 5th is E, the 7th is G. And how you can learn this is through that Piano Essentials or Chord Essentials, but also making notes for yourself. Right? I'm reading a book right now, and this isn't a political thing, so whatever you think of the man, one way or the other, that's not what this comment is about. But I'm reading a book by Evan Thomas, Nixon, A Man Divided. It's about President Richard Nixon. And very interesting man, very interesting book, and you know, one thing that he used to do is he used to like write on note cards and just study, and like he really like, you know, he was a lawyer, he was a trained lawyer, so he wrote on note cards and studied, you know. So the point is, let's not dive off into some political conversation, okay? So keep the comments about music, not politics. The point though that I'm making here is that studying, put stuff on note cards, review this. My father used to do this as well. He used to have note cards in the car and he'd be studying them, you know, and I would study them along with him. That's how I learned my chords. And when I actually got to Berkeley, I was able to test out of the first 2 years of harmony class because I already knew all the stuff, right? So anyway, so that's step 4. Fill out those voicings, fill them out with other chord tones and available tensions. Now, finally, step 5, then we can just start to arpeggiate the chords. So you see how like, so you see what I'm doing here? Root 5, and then here I just went up to the 3rd, okay? So root 5, root 3rd, and then I don't have to arpeggiate all of them. So here, I just play exactly as written before, and then on the A flat. So, and then the thing is, it doesn't matter how big or small your hand is. You can do this. Because literally, if you have to, you could just hold the pedal down and lift up and play each note. Okay, so now listen to what this sounds like all together. times in here. Now, to my ears, this starts to sound like a nice, beautiful, full arrangement. Okay, so again, let me play it for you. Oops, sorry. Okay, now, there's something else that I like to do. I got a very analytical brain, and that hasn't always worked to my advantage, but in music, it does work to my advantage. So I'm going to use it now. Take a look at the arrangement. Just look at the flow. And so you see the flow of the lines, and you see like what's happening here, like, you know, going up, down, you know. So it's not like it's just going up, down. Like there's a nice flow. Da 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 da. Okay. Look at the range in between. Like, could I even do something like this and get any, like, actually have some notes not hit there? Now, you see how I got stuff hitting here? Okay. Now look at what happens if I go up here. Back to this big arrangement. Okay. You see these spaces in here? So you see how it's like, it seems like it's really like it really moves and blocks, right? Okay. Not that that's a bad thing, but to do it for an entire arrangement sounds a little bit like, you know, it's a little too like big bombastic movements like that. So so you see how this whole process, and in this one, you got like the Grand Canyon in here, okay? Say, this starts to get better, you know, it starts to bring it closer together, okay? Now we start filling in some more of these gaps in here. And then finally, now you see that, like, look at the difference there in that arrangement. So what I'm saying to you is that you can just visually look at music, visually look at an arrangement and see that kind of stuff. And that's a good exercise for you to do. Any of the music that you read, just take a look at it and like see what it looks like, because that's what's also going to help you in creating your own arrangements. Because then you could step back, look at them, and anything that's written or printed that you make, you know, if you're using like a notation software or something, and say, well, what does it just look like? Does it look like, wow, I'm like really just, I keep going up or I keep going down, or it's like, wow, there's a real big space. Now, if you can't do it in music, then just look. Like, just look in here. Does it look like there's like some huge space and I'm like way up here, way down here, and the Grand Canyon in between? Like if I did this, you see how there's all that space in there, right? So my point in bringing that up is, you know, music isn't always just about listening or learning chords and that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's visually looking for clues. So visually looking for, you know, rises and fall. You know, this is life. Everything, you know, is rise and fall. It's cyclical. You know, life is cyclical. Things come, things go. All right? And so you're looking for those patterns in music as well. The more you start to clue into that, and the more you start to like just look for it. Don't do anything other than just look for it. Just, you know, be mindful of that. You're going to notice that, wow, you start to look at music differently, okay? Because you're literally looking at music differently, you know? So anyway, hope that helps. Now, Over the Rainbow is going to get released tomorrow on the site. So if you're a member of Piano with Willie, go back to the site tomorrow, and you could check out the new arrangement of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I think you're going to really enjoy it. I have another new lesson coming up, Stevie Wonder's Isn't She Lovely? That one's going to be coming up in about a month's time. So that one will be on the site as well. And like I said, if you're interested in the chord essentials or the piano essentials, I'm running a special right now. Just go back to pianochordsonline.com. Check that out, and you can take a look at that special. Do I have, let's see if I have, there you go. I'll give you the URL right there. So right there. So just go back to pianochordsonline.com and you could check out the piano essentials and the chord essentials. Students really love that because it goes through each key step by step. You know, it takes about a month to go through a key, but it's exhaustive. Like you really go through the entire, like at the end of the month, you know your scale, you know your chords, you know progressions, you know all of that stuff. And it's just some really cool stuff where like, I mean, I love progressions like, so like that kind of stuff that I'm making up there comes off of that exercise. So I get the rhythm, I get the chord voicings, I get the style, I get, just how to put all of that together. So all of that is in the exercises, and you can expand upon those exercises and start to create stuff like that. So anyway, I will see you guys next week at Hang with Willie. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you in the lessons.